In a land far, far away where magic is as common as the air we breathe, there lived three little pigs and a sweet girl named Red Riding Hood. This was not your ordinary place, but a realm where dreams took form and reality was woven by the threads of imagination. The three little pigs, each with their own unique character, spent their days building and playing, while Red Riding Hood, with her kind heart, loved to explore the enchanted forest and help her grandmother. In this magical land, the sun always shone brightly, and the air was filled with the pleasant melody of birds singing. The days were full of laughter and joy, and the nights were lit by the soft glow of a million twinkling stars. The trees swayed gently to the rhythm of the wind, and the rivers hummed lullabies that soothed all creatures to sleep. All was well in this magical land, until one day a menacing figure appeared on the horizon. Over the hills through the dense, dark forest came the big bad wolf. His reputation precedes him, a notorious character with a menacing grin, known throughout the land for his cunning and danger. He's not your average forest dweller. No, this is the big bad wolf, the one your mother warned you about when you were but a piglet or a young girl in a red hood. His eyes glint with mischief as he sneaks through the underbrush, his mind filled with wicked intentions. He's not out for a casual stroll or to enjoy the forest's beauty. Oh no, the big bad wolf has one thing on his mind: causing trouble for the three little pigs and Red Riding Hood. He views them as mere playthings in his game of trickery and deceit. His sharp teeth gleam in the moonlight as he contemplates his cunning plans. With a sinister smile, the big bad wolf began to plot his wicked plan. The big bad wolf, always up to no good, started to scheme a plan to trick the three little pigs and the innocent Red Riding Hood. He knew he had to be cunning, he had to be smart, for he was venturing into a land where magic was a part. The wolf thought and thought, his mind spinning with plots. A disguise, he decided, would tie up all the knots. He would pretend to be a lost traveler in need of some aid. He would fool the pigs and Red Riding Hood. He would have it all made. He found an old cloak, a hat, and a cane. He practiced his act again and again. He imagined the pigs so unsuspecting and kind, and Red Riding Hood with her innocent mind. With his plan all set, the big bad wolf put on his disguise and headed towards the magical land. In his cunning disguise, the big bad wolf approached the three little pigs' houses and Red Riding Hood's home. Cloaked in a shroud of deceit, the big bad wolf, a master of impersonation, began his deceptive endeavor. With a twinkle of mischief in his eyes and a wily grin, he approached the first little pig's house, made of straw. The pig, bright-eyed and full of innocence, was taken in by the wolf's seemingly harmless facade. Despite his instincts whispering caution, the pig was deceived by the wolf's cunning act of friendliness. Next, the wolf moved to the second little pig's house, constructed from sturdy sticks. This pig was a bit more wary, his eyes narrowed in suspicion as he studied the wolf's disguise. But the wolf, with his silver tongue, spun tales of friendship and camaraderie that lulled the second pig into a false sense of security. Once again, the wolf's trickery prevailed, and the pig was beguiled. Then it was the third little pig's turn. This pig lived in a house made of bricks, and he was the wisest of the three. He squinted at the wolf, his intuition nudging at him to be cautious. But the wolf was a master of manipulation. With his charming words and feigned innocence, the wolf managed to fool even the most discerning pig. Lastly, the wolf, still in his clever disguise, approached Red Riding Hood's home. The innocent girl, with her red hood and basket full of goodies, was a picture of naivety. The wolf, seeing this, put on his most convincing act yet. He played the role of a kind and caring friend, and Red Riding Hood, trusting and unsuspecting, fell for the deception. Thus, the big bad wolf, with his slyness and guile, managed to deceive each of them. He played on their trust and their innocence, using his cunning to manipulate them into falling for his tricks. The wolf was indeed a master of deception, a trickster who knew how to play his cards right. But the wolf's disguise was too convincing, and one by one they fell for his trickery. Just when it seemed like the big bad wolf's plan would succeed, something unexpected happened. In this grand tale of wit and courage, the youngest pig, known for his cleverness, and Red Riding Hood, famous for her bravery, started to notice something strange. There was something not quite right with the friendly character who had suddenly appeared in their midst. His voice was a little too gruff, his manners a tad too wild, and his appetite Well, let's just say it was bigger than normal. Slowly, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The sudden disappearance of their friends, the unfamiliar face with the all-too-familiar grin, the peculiar behavior. It all pointed to one thing, or rather, one creature, the big bad wolf. The realization hit them like a bolt of lightning. The wolf, the very same one they had heard about in the cautionary tales, was among them, disguised and plotting. But instead of giving in to fear, our brave duo found courage. They knew they had to act, not just for themselves, but for their friends who were unknowingly falling into the wolf's trap. They began to devise a plan to reveal the wolf for who he truly was. It was a risky plan, no doubt, but it was their only hope. They knew they had to outsmart the wolf, to beat him at his own game. They decided to gather the rest of their friends, to warn them about the wolf's deception. But they had to be careful, for if the wolf got wind of their plan, it would all be over. They had to be clever, they had to be brave, but most importantly, they had to stick together. For it was only through unity that they could hope to overcome the cunning and ferocity of the big bad wolf. And so, with courage in their hearts, they set out to reveal the true identity of the big bad wolf. With the cunning of the youngest pig and the bravery of Red Riding Hood, the big bad wolf's plan was thwarted. The once menacing figure was revealed for what he truly was, a mere illusion, a shadow puppet of fear. Laughter echoed throughout the magical land as the truth was unveiled. The wolf, stripped of his terrifying guise, was nothing more than a trickster, a jester who had overstayed his welcome. The characters, once trembling in fear, now danced and sang in joyful celebration. They cheered for the youngest pig, the clever architect, and Red Riding Hood, the brave adventurer. Their victory was a testament to their courage, their wisdom, and the strength of their unity. Through this tale, we learn the importance of these virtues. Even when faced with the most cunning and dangerous of foes, together we can overcome anything. Remember, not all is as it seems, and sometimes the most unlikely heroes can save the day. And so the three little pigs, Red Riding Hood, and all the inhabitants of the magical land lived happily ever after.